Good morning, happy Friday, and it's a good blustery one this morning. We've got some lovely storms coming in from the Atlantic, so hopefully I've got a nice little bit of a window. But Friday Ascension update. How's your week been, everybody? It's again, energy's getting very lively out there, and I'm going to be kind of expanding a little bit more on the kind of the subject matter that I was covering previously, which looks at division within our ranks, but also what we're going to be presented with. Now, the theme of the morning, this morning, and probably for the next few months or so, is buckle up. Okay, now I mean buckle up from a heart-centered perspective, but as we've been kind of expecting, things are beginning to ramp up energetically, but they're also beginning to become increasingly pressurized from the kind of the 3D, 5D perspective. Now, within our communities, like the light worker community, there's a lot of divisive information, as I said in the previous video, where we feel incredibly strongly about what is going on, what we're being presented with, what people around us are doing, whether they're actually seeing or not, and if they're not seeing, why aren't they seeing? It just seems to be that quite a lot of us, we know what we know, and we know it in our hearts, but there is also we're being asked to trust, for want of a better word. If you cut all of the other information out of the situation, it simply boils down to trust. Now, is this blind trust, or is it trust because we are asserted in our roles and we know where we're going on this ascension process, and we know what we've got to achieve? Now, faith in the divine, or trust in the universe, I mean, it's quite a big one, considering what we're facing here on the planet at the moment. If you look at it on a practical level, everything seems to be heading towards this kind of dystopian future, rather than the 5D utopia that we've all been kind of focusing and aiming for. But if I break it down, I've done this quite a few times before, but for those of you that might be new to the information that I'm presenting, we are slap bang in the middle of a 20-year transitional period. That transitional period begun on the 21st of December 2012, and it ends on the winter solstice in 2032. Now, and here comes the wind and the rain. Now, during this brief period of time, we are completely changing the consciousness of the vibration and the society that we live in. We're halfway through it at the moment. We are at the messiest, the craziest part of the equation, the whole thing that is going on. Now, by buckle up, I mean be prepared for an increase from the 3D matrix to contain what is falling apart. Okay, and we know it's falling apart, even if we might not be able to grasp tangibly the results that we want to see. We know if we check with our heart centers, which is a very powerful thing to do. If you got 5 minutes later on today, or now even, place your hand on your heart, close your eyes, tune into your heart center, raise your frequency to, or to an angelic level, upper fifth dimensional frequency, bring the light in, and ask your heart, are you on the right pathway? Are you on a planet that is ascending or moving into a state of chaos? Which doorway have you walked through? Where have you decided to focus your attention? What is your mission on this planet? Is it to stay in a third dimensional matrix, locked in with all of these people around you that can't see? Or are you taking it with you and bringing these people into the light, this consciousness into the light, and elevating the entire structure of the planet and society around you? Just ask yourself for a minute, what is it that you are actually here to do? And then when you've kind of got the response, when you've got the answer from your heart center, sometimes it might take a little while, just kind of tuning into the heart, receiving the answer, because it'll often come through in a way that is intuitive. Or not all of us hear voices in our heads. I certainly don't. I completely run on intuition, signs and symbols from the universe, and most of all a kind of a knowing, a deep knowing of what I'm supposed to be doing, whether information is correct for me or not. So just check where you are on your pathway at the moment. You know, are you keyed into the correct pathway for your future? Where has your attention gone, and where is it focused on at the moment? Because this is very important, because what we are at this kind of like this midway marker, this halfway through point, the distractions that we are being presented with are actually very powerful, and the distractions are there for a reason. All of this fear, all of this kind of like this potential dystopian captivity, or like overbearing authority, all of the things that we can see being rolled out. It's in the news, it's in the media, your friends are talking about it, your family are participating in it. All of these things that might be weighing heavily on your soul at the moment are, from a higher perspective, they are nothing but a distraction. They are a blip in the forward moving progress of where we are going. But once you're caught in that distraction, once your energy has moved in that direction, once you have taken that into your bodies and your fields, and you are wearing it, you are wearing that energy, that is when it becomes something that you are going to have to work harder to navigate your way back out of again. So knowing this, knowing this, the 3D matrix and those that have been controlling the 3D matrix are turning it up, all around us. The souls that have been controlling our previous reality have realized that the game is up. There is, like I said in my previous video, the transition of the fifth dimensional reality, moving from 3D to 5D on this planet, is a done deal. It's a signed contract. It was planned and orchestrated and organized a long time ago, before even the establishment and the raising of the first part of the Atlantean experiment. It's all been synchronized to work to a time frame, and our time frame affects other time frames that are going on around us in our universe. So we step up, lots of other aspects step up at the same time. So this kind of school, this captured matrix, this reality that we were participating in willingly for 10,000 years, is very, very keen on maintaining its structure. The more souls or more energy that it has added to it, the more powerful it is. And at the moment, every minute of every day on this world, people are choosing to leave it. They're migrating out. First of all, it's a conscious spark, then it's an activation of the heart center, then the ego basically disengages and the soul moves forwards. And in order to maintain as much of the control in that previous reality, the only way that it can actually continue to hold on to people is by distracting them and filling them with fear. Have a look at what is going on around you in the circus of the media, politics, everything that's going on around the world at the moment, and you will see it is simply a very, very well organised and incredibly it's been very well executed effort to keep people in a state of fear. Once somebody is disengaged from their heart, once they're using their ego, they're fear-based, they are very easy to control. Okay, it's almost a mass hypnosis. Okay, I use this terminology sort of a little bit later on in the year last year, about it's a spell, and we've broken the spell, or we're breaking the spell, but there's lots of different parts and facets to this spell that can drag people back in again. And so buckle up, because that matrix, that spell is going to regenerate and try and distract and pull back in by different methods. The media will increase its attempts to draw you in, to be fear-based, to tell you that there's no hope, to tell you that there is, comply because this is the future, when in actual fact, no, it isn't, not in any way, shape or form. Once somebody has disengaged from that reality, once they're standing in their own sovereignty, game's up, game's over. But it's very easy to get sucked back in again. And once you're in there for a little while, that adds to a pool of collective thought. Between now and August will be probably one of the most intensive times that you have experienced. Okay, now we've had some intensive times on this planet already. There's been, those of us that have been through one dark night of soul, multiple dark nights of the soul, you'll know what intensive is. And sometimes it seems like it's just repeating itself continuously. When's the cycle going to break? The cycle breaks when we learn our lessons at the end of the day. That's why many of us go through repetitive situations that don't seem to actually have any kind of learning value. They've almost, what I've described as, exceeded their creative potential. The reason why we go through those again and again and again is because obviously the penny hasn't dropped in the universe's eyes to the degree where we have moved fully forwards. We're very well trained to deal with all of this. We're very well trained to be here where we are on this planet at the moment. We're all masters in human form in various different ways or stages of remembering that. So we are pushed, or rather unceremoniously booted up by the backside by the universe until we've remembered. Once we've remembered, once we've reclaimed our sovereignty and we're anchored in that light, forward we move, and we don't look back. One of the easiest ways to distract and to pull us back in again into that old matrix, that old kind of that paradigm of fear that is very readily accessible still, is to maybe aim for those around us that are kind of a little bit more vulnerable than we are at the moment. Say, for the sake of example, you may know somebody who's going through some transitions themselves. You might know somebody who's recovering from an illness. Quite often the distraction matrix will go for not necessarily the weakest link, but somebody who needs to be kind of cocooned in light and more protected at the moment. So that's another way of knocking us and keeping us off balance. So once again, it goes full circle back to us. We are responsible for holding the light as high and as bright and as clear as possible, remaining completely undistracted. Difficult, again, it's not me saying, well, I stay undistracted every day, 7 days a week, so don't. I am quite, I'm easily distractible, and when I do, so you've got to scrabble your way back into centre point again. It's persistence, and it's communication, and it's also collaboration with each other, working together, supporting each other, being here to catch or fill a space when somebody else steps back. because they need to regenerate their energy, or they've taken a hit. Now, completely on the same kind of subject, but on a different tangent, Diana Cooper and I ran a Zoom a couple of weeks ago. We're working with the Councils of Light, and one of the discussions that we had within the hour was where all of us have incarnated from. Now, you may immediately associate your previous memory, the last memory that you had before incarnating on Earth, as being your source of soul origin. In some cases it might be, but in many cases, if we feel particularly drawn to somewhere like, say, the Pleiades or Sirius or Andromeda or Orion, it could be that we stepped down through that particular portal before incarnating on this Earth. Now, me particularly, I went through something called destroyer training on Venus. Now, when I was first given this information, I was like a little bit curious about it, because to me Venus has always been associated with the portal of the cosmic heart, Commander Ashtar, high frequency love and light. What on earth would that have to do with destroyer training? And Commander Ashtar explained to me that destroyer training is very specific for planet Earth. It's for people who are working with the potential to have a lot of energy thrown at them that might not necessarily be positive or nice. It means working through the mud. It means basically cutting your way through the energy jungle so that you can stand there in your light. Now, a lot of you will have done this. This might resonate, or it might ring true to you, that you will have trained in whatever you are doing very specifically before coming down to Earth. So the last thing that I did before I stepped down through Venus was undergo something called destroyer training, which gave me the capacity to deal with energies that are around me that are dense, of a low frequency, beings of a low vibration. And it's very rigorous, it's very thorough. And having heard a lot of conversations and had some personal questions to me recently, I think it would benefit a lot of you out there, if you're listening to this and you think, oh, I like the sound of that, is to, in meditation, have a conversation, or just call to Commander Ashtar and ask him if you could sign up for what he's calling almost like a crash course or an intensive course, to go there in your sleep at night time and receive kind of what we'd call like the bare minimum of destroyer training if you haven't done it already. It sounds negative on the outside, but it's not. It just gives you the ability to alchemize and work through energies that are very dense, and we're surrounded by them at the moment. Okay, we've got this huge mix of 3D, 5D energy which we're working to clear. So the more equipped that you are to deal with this, the more equipped you are to deal with what is being thrown at you, which, believe me, once you've raised your head above the parapet, it's like target shooting a little bit. And that's just another test from the universe. So on Monday, I'm going to run through a meditation, and it will be the Meditation Monday, to bring people into a situation where you can talk to Commander Ashtar. And if you want to undergo this training, he will very happily sign a proportion of you up, or whoever wants to go through it. And the other one is another one which is really useful for those of you that feel like you are under attack at the moment, feel like you're under pressure. Call to the Legions of Anubis. Now, Anubis, it was the keeper of secrets in Atlantean times. It was a very good friend of mine back in the day when we were in Atlantis and in Egypt. And one of the first things that was given to me was a Sentinel. Now, a Sentinel, this is in one of my previous videos, if you kind of go back a little bit earlier into the year, or maybe at the end of last year. The Sentinels of Anubis, when called upon, are allocated one to each light work, or maybe two, depending on the gravity of your job, and will be there to protect or basically fortify your fields against the energies that you can't alchemize, that you may be too busy, or you're distracted, or you've been knocked out of commission a little bit. It's at those points that we do need the additional help at the moment. The first and foremost, the most effective way to ever protect yourself is to hold your light high, bright and clear at all times, shining radiance from your heart and alchemizing everyone and everything around you. But we can't always be in that state, especially while things are so intense at the moment. We do need to step back sometimes. We do need to take a bit of time out occasionally. So it all kind of hinges very much on working with the higher, working with the spiritual realms to support us, working with each other to support us at the moment, but also just be very aware of how intense this could possibly get on a distraction level. And by that I mean, when you are presented with information that rattles your cage, when you are potentially given something that frightens you, makes you question your reality, you will be presented with this stuff, okay? It is going to get a little bit funky. But we're here for each other, and we're here to guide, we're here to lead, we're here to teach. We are here to step this entire planet into the golden age of Aquarius, the future vibration for which we're working so hard for. So keep your light high, your frequency clear and your manifestation sharp. On Monday I will be back to run through Meditation Monday, just working with Commander Ashtar, calling that energy in and basically undergoing whatever method of training that you want. If you wish to do this, is like sign up, go there at night time, undergo the training, come back feeling a little bit better equipped to deal with what we've got going on at the moment. So I hope that's of interest to you. I hope you all have a beautiful end to the week. And on Monday night I'm doing a Facebook Live. The event is free, with Jackie White, with Pam and Sue Stone, okay? And the information it's on my website. It's also on the Facebook. No, it's not on the website. It's on my Facebook page. And on Wednesday, the 26th, on the supermoon, which we've got coming up, no less, I'm running a workshop. It's the first time that I've had the honour of working with her, Yasmin Ibrahim, and we're going to be looking at the best ways to stay balanced in this changing world. Our own personal stories, what we've been through, what we've kind of experienced, and best ways to navigate it. So I'll put the links up in the text for this video, and I hope you all have a lovely end to the week. All right, bye for now. Lots of love.